All right, how you guys doing today? Do me a favor, if you don't hear me, I'm going to use my hands in here. If you don't hear me, just let me know, because last time I did this, they cut down or shut off my sound feed. So today is 3/11, and it is the 7th anniversary of Fukushima. I will be using the word kaka a lot, and not because I want to be funny, but I'm trying to not have any voice box pick me up. So today is 7 years, and everything is just fine. I'm going to go through some slides. I'm pretty much going to blow your mind today. Hey, Jonathan. Hi, Vince. How you guys doing? And this is the power plant that had the accident. Now, the accident occurred on the 11th of March 2011. 20,000 people died. It resulted in a tsunami, and we had 3 meltdowns. These are the towers here. I'm going to show you guys some crazy stuff that you can't believe is happening. Just hang out here for a minute. This is what they used to look like. These two kind of much blew up. Okay, that was that big cloud, that plume that you saw when the explosion occurred. Now, this is where I got the thing, boom. This thing completely blew up. And by the way, they estimated like 20 billion for this. It's going to be in excess of 300 billion. They're figuring about 30 years. Okay, 30 years to clean this whole place up. They're on 7. Okay, and I'm going to show you where the Olympics are going to be. You're going to freak when you see this. But 30 years is when they're going to, they're supposedly going to end up finishing this. You're going to see what we're doing with all the soil too. These are all these vessels, all full of cesium Ka-137 and cesium Ka-138. Half-lives of 30 years. 30 years. And they're all filled up. These are all filled up. They don't know what to do with them. And these are the tanks that they're actually thinking about unloading into the Pacific Ocean. Now here, this is what you see today. This is just recently, they took these pictures, and they've actually built a canopy above this house here because it's just, weather's getting in here and it's leaking out. And the biggest problem right now they just found out is that water is going underneath this thing, this entire complex, and cesium and cesium Ka-133, 34, and cesium Ka-138 has been leaking.
GPS signal lost.
Oh boy, sorry about that. Leaking into the Pacific Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean is almost dead. I'll show you some pictures and some data on that. This is what they're doing, and this is pretty interesting. You're trying to figure out what they're doing with all the waste. Well, they have 10 million one-ton bags. They're spreading them all over Japan, and what they're doing is, this is just a shot where you can see here where they're using a plastic membrane. So basically what they're doing is they're creating a waterproof membrane, putting down a buffer zone, and then on top of the buffer zone, they are loading up the one-ton bags. Now, if you think about it, these are little mini roofs, and there's 2 types of roofs. There's the roofs that leak and the ones that are going to leak. And they expect to leave these out for 30 years. Now, remember, the half-life of this, of the 134, is 30 years. I'm sorry, 138 is 30 years. So they're renting this land from farmers for 30 years. So in 30 years, that's a half-life. Then you got another 30 years for another half-life. So it's 100 years before you lose 70% of the radiation. So this is going to get good now. And you can see how these are temporary. They're just dropping these off. Okay. And now we're starting to get into some fields. Now these, hey Jeff, hey Vinko, Radisek, how are you? Alan, what's up? They're putting them up at 5-foot intervals, and these go for football fields. And these weigh a ton apiece. Think about this, a ton. And one of these will fit in a little small pickup truck. There's 10 million of these as of now that we know of, and they're not even done. This is just one field, and you can see how they're stacking them up. They put them up 5 or 6 high, and this is just the soil they're scraping because the soil was all contaminated. Now, I'm up here. If you look at this photo, all these are piles of these bags, and these are covered. These are all
GPS signal lost.
I'm sorry, but that's going to happen every few minutes. These are all covered. Now, I've been trying to figure out what this purple stuff is. I'm thinking this could be strontium. This could be something else. This could have been the rods that they're putting. But this is all soil, And these here, I'll show you those close-ups here in a second, what they're doing there. There's another airplane view. Look at this. These are all black bags, and once they fill up the space, they cover it up, okay? Now, think about this. 30 years. You think this stuff's going to leak? And oh, by the way, do you see all this here? This is agriculture. And guess what they're doing? They are still growing food in Fukushima, in that area, and their government won't let them eat their own food. But guess what? Our administration and the past administration both increased the levels of radiation in our food. You're going to need a Geiger counter to go buy food, man. And I actually checked into this whole Geiger counter thing, what kind of buy. And the Geiger counter that you'd need costs $6,000. Okay, I bought a few. They're not good enough for food. But anyways, we're not going to get into that right now. Now this is you're going to love this. This is the stadium that we're going to have our Olympics in. This is the baseball diamond. And guess what that is? Yeah, you got it. And it's all around. This is going to be where some of the Olympics will be held. And this fence here is a 10-foot fence, so you won't actually see it. And I'll show you the fence close up. Okay, this is Olympics. They're going to be playing tennis here. And if you throw a rock, you can hit the cesium Kaka 137 and cesium Kaka 138. Those are the two isotopes. That is the fingerprint for Fukushima, all right? Is the cesium that's their fingerprint. That's what we have. If you went in your backyard and tested your soil, you would find some cesium in it from the fallout of this place. When the first initial fallout that came between the 18th and the 25th. But anyways, there's a fence here all the way around, and they got this stuff. And, you know, there's going to be, here's a fence, too. Don't go over that fence, okay, because guess what's on the other side? My arrows are pointing to the stored material. Now, this is pretty crazy, okay? This is the Pacific Ocean, okay, and we are on the side of the accident, okay? And I got the USA and Canada out here, all right? Now, look at this. Now, this is how smart these people are. Now, you tell me if there's any brains here. What you got here is the Pacific Ocean here, right? And what do you see over here? Yeah, that's right. What happens if there's a tidal wave or another tsunami or a storm? That shit floats out. And they've already had this stuff float down rivers and stuff and lose these bags. Think about this. 10 million of these things all over Japan for 30 years on top of roofing membranes that I told you there's two types, the ones that leak and the ones that are going to leak. Now, here's another close-up. Here's your Pacific Ocean, and look what we got here. This is complete moronic. These people are morons. This stuff is going to float out into the Pacific Ocean as if it's not bad enough. I did a quick calculation here. This is pretty intense. And here, this area has approximately 600 tons. That's 600 tons, 600 bags. Think about 12 million. I can't count to 12 million. That's one bag, and they drop them off the roads, and they move them around. Now, this is pretty interesting right here. This, if you guys can't hear me and there's no sound, please let me know, okay? Because last time they did this to me, they shut me off for 12 minutes, and I don't know why, but they did. Okay, these are these things called doles and jetties. You've seen these before? And I think they're going to actually put these around some of these when they're done. They're starting to stack them up. I didn't research where they're being made at, but they're getting ready. Now, this is where the accident happened, right here. This is the Pacific Ocean. I'm going to show you some crazy stuff here in a minute. And, of course, there's Fukushima, the city where there's going to be Olympics. And they're storing this stuff all throughout here, okay? Now they're actually telling the people to come back, to move in. I'll show you some of their houses. Now, this is what happened. Right, if you go across, there's us. That's USA. There's Canada. Hundreds and hundreds of islands up here. Okay, and there's a lot of dead die-offs of birds and sea lions, and there's no more salmon in here. The sea urchins are gone. What happens is on the 11th, this place blows up, and over here, our administration gets on TV and says, "Hey, don't worry about it. Everything's just fine. Don't worry, it's fine." And then what does the whole White House do? They get on an airplane, including the dog, the CEO of GE. By the way, these are GE reactors that exploded. Him and Westinghouse and a bunch of CEOs get on their little jets, and they fly to the southern hemisphere during the 18th to the 25th during the fallout of the Fukushima cloud that went over America. They weren't even here, okay? And they had some kind of a meeting. This is an island, okay? And I try to zoom in on some of these islands. And there's a lot of dead die-offs. This is excuse me. This is reactors. They basically said that reactors are supposed to last 30 years. Okay, and we're gonna come back to that in a minute. Some of my slides are out. Now, this is where they're putting these bags, and they already had accidents. They had a rainstorm and a flood, and these things floated down a river and contaminated villages that were clean. So, you know, there's going to be 10 million of these bags in Japan. Now, what's happening is initially the plume did kill off. There's a lot of dead. There's one island. Matter of fact, there's 10,000 dead sea lions. Okay, and no one's talking about it. You know what they're talking about? They're talking about the Oscars. That's important. Oscars and AKs. But here we're having major die-offs. Here's 8,000 dead birds washed up on Alaska. This stuff has been going on for 7 years. Major die-offs. The starfish are dying. The mussels are dying. There's hardly any salmon in the Pacific Ocean. Okay, this is serious stuff. By the way, if you are eating fish, be very careful where you're getting it from. I would say don't eat anything that comes out of the... Hey, Ron, how are you? And Dean, what's up? I would say don't eat any fish at all out of the Pacific Ocean, and then I would probably stay away from any farm fish, too. These are more photos of them getting these sites together. Okay, this picture here shows it before, and that's what it looks like after. Okay, and these are little farmlands. These are acres and acres and miles of areas that they're getting ready, and here's one that they've done, and that's what it looks like, filled up. Once they fill it up, they put blue tarps on them, all over Japan. I mean, all over Japan. You can see these things, and and also, you know, like here you got agriculture right here, and here you got contamination. That doesn't seem like that's going to work out too good about 20 years from now, because you know these things are going to leak. Now this is the cesium Kaka 137 and cesium Kaka 138 are alpha particles. Okay, zoomies, I call zoomies, are gammas, and some of the stuff in the reactors were gamma, but the alpha is so dangerous if you breathe it. So that's why they're wearing gloves. That whole area you can't have the stuff get in your lungs. It will cause cancer. And they just did a study on children with cancer in this area, and it used to be they found radiation in 1 in a million before this. Now they tested 14,000 children out of 44,000 have radiation in their bodies and potential of cancer, and the pancreas. That's 35%, and nobody's telling you about that. That won't be on CNN News tonight. Now these are they dropping these off just on the sides, and you can see my little red arrows pointing to the bags, and they're just building this up. Here's another site, another site, another site, and this is kind of cool. I zoomed out, and here's going to be the Olympics right here, and these are our little stadiums, and then we got cesium Kaka here, cesium Kaka, cesium Kaka, cesium Kaka, cesium Kaka. It's not really Kaka. I'm just using that word today. Here's another whole site, and you can see how beautiful the land used to be, and look what they're doing to it. And here's more along the water. That's the Pacific Ocean. I mean, how dumb can you be? That's not very smart. More. Okay, and you can see these. There's more sites that will be filled in, and we're going to get it. And I'm going to show you some other pictures here in a second, so as we get through these. These are again the same bags, and most of this, by the way, is soil. Now think about this: all the properties around there, they have to scrape the soil. Okay, a lot of the materials in the house have to be thrown out, because if they're contaminated, you got 30 years or for a half-life. Okay, so these people, they're starting to say they can come back. Now, cesium Kaka 134 has a half-life of 3 to 5 years, so that's already half, and maybe that's why they're letting some of the people back. Okay, this used to be a baseball field. Check it out. Hey, Mary, how you doing? This used to be a baseball field, okay, and you can see what they've done to it. It's now a Kaka field. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. And here's the best part. You're probably all thinking like, oh, who's doing the work? Who's doing the work? You know what they're doing? If you read how they're doing actually go to Wikipedia, like way down on the end. They say, oh, we're using temporary help. They're taking people who are homeless, okay, people who don't have families and don't work, and they're giving them 1 to 2 month contracts. And then when the contract's over, this is what Wikipedia says, and we kind of hope they disappear. It says it in Wikipedia. We expect them to disappear. Okay, they basically are people that are probably going to get cancer 10 years from now from helping clean this up. Okay, and here's some more. These are fields that are starting up. More. This is totally amazing. And you know, it's funny. If you take all the atomic weapons that have been blown up since the Cold War, okay, since 1948, including the hydrogen bomb, Nagasaki, and let's take 3 Mile Island in Chernobyl. Let's get all that and throw in the 2,000 bombs, 1,200 of which were American, 800 or 700 were from Russia. Take all those atomic weapons, all of them, okay, and put them together. This catastrophe is 100 times worse. All those put together. That's how serious this is. And you know what? And we're worried about the Oscars. The Pacific Ocean is dying, okay? There's hardly any fish on the whole coast of Canada and America. There used to be 7,000 species for the birds and plants. There's 100 now. 100. Think about that. Nobody's talking about that. We're worried about the Oscars, okay? That's what's important. Jimmy Kimmel, yep, the Oscars. You know, males be quiet. Keep your hands yourself. Masculine, they're destroying the masculine gender right now in guns, and they're taking away civil liberties and their freedom of speech. And no one's talking about this, okay? Oh, by the way, when this went down, you saw like Cooper, Anderson, and all those guys are like standing on these buildings pretending they're taking pictures of this like it was some great thing. If they were actually here, they'd be dead right now. So now you know that they're all green screening. These people used green screens to do this back 6-7 years ago when you thought they were there. If they were there, they'd all be dead, okay? There's no way they'd be alive right now. Okay, so you can see this fence here. They're putting fences around them too. Now, I don't know what you need a fence for. I mean, who's going to go into this space? Seriously. I mean, you got to be an idiot, right? Okay, so here we go back to more Olympics here and more caca here. And of course, here they'll probably have scarecrows and by the way, you got to be careful on the rice because the rice is coming here and it's coming from Fukushima. So I don't know about eating rice right now. This is kind of interesting. I just picked this up today and I couldn't understand Lawson's. You guys remember Lawson's? I know some of you guys remember Lawson's. And what? Okay, these pictures, somebody had a question. These pictures are taken from 2011 up until 2018. So, you know, they're kind of a mixture. I'm stealing the stuff from Google. So I guess I could look at each one. And Google, oh, by the way, just so you know, when Google went and did this, they probably weren't that smart. So a lot of the early pictures, you could see the roads. Then later on, they'll have the aerials, but no more roads because they're like, there's nobody stupid enough to drive down these roads right now with all these cesium caca piles everywhere. I mean, this is radioactive stuff. So I don't know if I'd be in a Google car right now. And so I'm having a hard time getting some recent ones, and they're probably shutting them down too. There's a point where they can't have people know about this. They don't want us to see this stuff. They don't want us to start. I mean, what are they doing right now? America's 99 nuclear power plants. Are you kidding me? These things are already 30 years old. They have lifespans of 30 years old. They just gave them another 20 to 30 years. And a few of them have super glue. David Bessie has super glue. Check it out. Kucinich was all pissed off about that 10 years ago. You can't even find this stuff, but look for it. You'll see it. That place is glued together, man. And now they're going to shut down Perry. Why? Oh, because it's too expensive to run. I don't think so. I think there's some problems going on. I think we've got these zits that are going to start popping all over, and we're going to have little mini Fukushimas in America. They're coming, man. They shut down our coal-fired system. Oh, we're going to have renewable free energy. We're going to have windmills. Yeah, windmills and solar panels. That's not enough, okay? They've shut all this down, and because of that, they had to renew all the contracts for all the nuclear power plants, and they are all outdated, man. They're all outdated. Now, as you go down the streets, you will see people. They have guards, okay? She should be wearing a mask, okay? Their industry's still on, a lot of their chemical plants. Now they're starting to put up these fences, these 10 to 15-foot fences. And Chip Dip, hey, Barry, how you doing, man? Nice to hear from you, Barry. And they put these 10-foot fences up so you can't see it anymore. But you can see the cranes. They're doing stuff back here. Google probably should be Google Cloud. I don't know if you guys ever do Google. Well, Google does is they will put these clouds in areas that you can't. Like if you want to go to Antarctica and check out some stuff, it's covered with a Google Cloud that doesn't move. There's a lot of small little islands in Atlantic that are secret government American, maybe CIA stuff. They probably do a lot of good stuff on some of those islands, but you can't see them because of the clouds. So luckily I was able to grab all these photos. I can bet you that there'll be Google Clouds on this real soon here. These are the little small trucks. And it's kind of funny. Look at those people. I know what they're doing. They're getting the site ready. I can guarantee you these people aren't looking for Easter eggs. So here's some more aerials. And you notice how the guys are all wearing the masks. They got boots, and a lot of them wear gloves. If you touch things, you need to wear gloves. Okay, all the buildings are closed. Now, they're still giving haircuts here. And there's nobody. What's funny is you go down these streets, you don't see, hey, Danny, how you doing? You don't see people. And the only people you see are people in white suits and in workers type protected outfits. Now, this is kind of funny. Watch this. Ready? Here's a guy. He's like at the green flag, go. The red flag means stop, right? Now, here I am in my little Google car. I got this big round thing spinning around like I'm a space Jetson Martian thing with a camera. He's like, what is that? What is that? And I drive by, and he's like, what? See him over there in the green circle? It's like, what's going on? Oh, no photograph. No photograph. No take picture. No take picture. Okay, so I'm going to bet that they're not allowed to take any more pictures. You're going to see less of this. I'm kind of glad I was able to grab this stuff. Here's some closed stores, closed buildings, and there's a lot of nuclear power plants. They got a bunch of them along that whole Pacific coast. They're lucky that's the only one that went down. I think they had like 5 that exploded. I'm still trying to figure out what this stuff is. Here's another water. Hey, let's wait for the big tidal wave. It's coming. Oh, they're all going to float away. They're going to float away. There's more. Okay, there's some guys, workers. And you can see they haven't been here in 7 years. You can see the grass kind of growing through the concrete. But they do clean up, but there's probably no pollution because everything has been put in bags. So the bags are piling up, and look, they actually look it almost looks like a nice part of the new landscape. I mean, that is all, there's literally tens of thousands of tons of cesium, Ka 137 and 138 right there, and other isotopes. 6 foot tall. And like I said, what they do is they prepare the soil, and then this is the roofing membrane. If you see this here, this, hey, Kathy, hey, Timothy, how you guys doing? Thanks for coming on. This is a roofing membrane. And, roofing membranes, we put them on our buildings, right? What happens after 10 years? They leak, right? Come on. Everybody's roof leaks. That's why you get a new roof every 20 years. What do you think is going to happen to these? They're going to leak. And what they're going to do, you're going to have cesium in the groundwater, and now the whole groundwater is going to be contaminated. And it probably already is. That's a field that I'll show you in the next picture. I think it's there. That's this field, and now this is what it looks like 3 years later. And they're like taking whole towns and just filling up. Here's one getting ready. They're getting this whole site ready, and the way they're spreading out tells you they're not even close. And this is a 2018 photo right here. So by this big field, it's telling you that there's a lot more going down, a lot more bags. Roads are closed. Okay, and here's another one. This is the 2018 also. And you can see they're just filling this stuff up. Now, this is agriculture, and the reason I threw that in there is because they're going to continue with the agriculture in these areas. And so, you want to be careful. They're still making power. This is not a nuclear facility, but they're still making power. And now here, this is kind of crazy. This is an example of what's happening in America. And what they've done is they've shut down our dams. Okay, for example, the Colorado River. They shut down all the dams on the Colorado River. You know why? Because they don't believe in scientific evidence anymore. They don't believe in peer review. So guess what? It's called presumptive thinking. So some idiot who is not a scientist basically said the salmon might come back. They're not coming back. They're never coming. And by the way, the people that did the survey for that, they got fired, and I think one of them committed suicide. A lot of people commit suicide in the U.S. It's kind of crazy, you know. Well, they shut down all the dams there, and now then the last administration shut down all the coal-fired systems. So now what do we have? We have nuclear power plants that have been used up, and now they've added 20 more years of life to these things, okay? They're done, and they've added 20. So we have 99 plants in America that this can happen to. And of course, we're going to try to rush and replace it with windmills, you know, and solar panels. Now you see it. This is a hydro dam. The Japanese are tearing them down too, okay? And this is, you know, I don't know why they're tearing them down, because they need power. Here, now you see it. Now you don't. You can see how it's gone. They're knocking it down, and they probably won't replace it. Okay, these are more vessels that are filled. Okay, you can see how filled up they are, and they're running out of space. They want to start to dump these into the ocean. This is the tower that exploded. Okay, these are close-ups. More. I'm sorry, that's a double. Some towns. Now, you know, I already mentioned. You know, now let's talk about us here. You know, David Bessie. They're thinking about closing Bessie and Peary down. And they're saying it costs too much to run. That's fine. But if you follow David Bessie, they had problems in cracks, and they have special glue holding stuff together. These are all the nuclear power plants in America, 99 of them, and they're all GEs, and we've got similar reactors, okay? GE made a lot of reactors. And here, basically, nuclear power of USA, it says a 30-year period. That is what they were designed to do. Now they gave them 30 more years. Think about that for a minute. And here it says some were 40 years. Now they're going to go for 50 and 60 years because we need the power. We have to have the power. They're stating that there's only been 3 major accidents, 3 Mile, Chernobyl, and Fukushima. You know, there's a lot more that have problems. I mean, a lot of times they have outages to refuel. There's more than just outages. This is old Billy Willie looking out the window, and this is just a flood in America. This is a power plant, and you know what? We're going to get floods too. Now they tell us that, you know, that if there's an exposure, you need to get inside. You can't stand outside. You can't wait for the radiation cloud to dump on you, whatever it is. And what's funny is when this happened on March 11, 2011, our administration says, don't worry, everything is going to be just fine. And all these people, the mailmen were out that day from the 18th to the 25th. We got rained on, man, rained on. And everybody that was working outside got exposed to this. Unless, of course, you were lucky enough to get on that plane to go to the Southern Hemisphere for that meeting. Now, what we're worried about is the last Olympics. See this guy here? I know this is kind of a crazy picture, but this is the guy that every night at the Olympics was talking to us with his little flaming, you know, he was throwing kisses at us. This is who was running the Olympics for us, okay, Weir. And I'm thinking, you know, for the new guy that's going to be in Fukushima is going to be this guy here. What do you think of him? This guy here. He's going to be the next guy running Olympics for us. And of course, these are our buddies that are our news people that we listen to every night that tell us the important things, the things, you know, their little agendas going on. And this is all we're worried about today. We're worried about women. We're worried about guns. We're worried about terrorists. Okay. And here everything else is going on and they're not telling you about it. They're telling you what they want to tell you. They're telling you about, this is what we really want to see. Get a real close look, people, because this is what is important. Cute, fluffy doggies. Oh, look how cute the doggy is. This is what the American mind has come to, an attention span of about 5 goddamn seconds. This is what's important, little puppy dogs. So now you have a choice, folks. You can take the blue pill or you take the red pill. The blue pill or the red pill. You know what? It don't matter, man. The drug dealer makes both the pills. He makes both the pills. So both pills, the same drug dealer, okay? And guess what? This is the first fake news I'm showing you. Everything before was real news except this. This is the fake news because I told you I won this, and I didn't. I lied. I didn't win. I just took a good picture, but I was runner-up. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my little presentation. I hope it's still on. I hope that I still have sound. Thank you.